Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Innamorati, and today I'm going to be taking all of you through the projects that I've been working on for the past 4 weeks. So we're going to start off with my professional project. I did A/B testing with my Tinder data. So over this past winter break, I came across a TikTok which showed me how to request my Tinder data. And immediately, as somebody who wants to go into the data analytics industry once I graduate, I was super interested. So when it kind of came time to decide on a project for the pledge process, my mind immediately went to doing something with my Tinder data. And I decided on testing a normal bio versus a professional bio to see which yields a higher match rate. I was also interested in seeing how in my professional journey, if that professionalism were to bleed into other aspects of my life, how they would be affected. So the project itself kind of went through 3 different stages. The first of which was data collection, in which I would actually run the experiment and request my data from Tinder. The second being data cleaning and transformation, in which I would pick and choose the data relevant to my project and convert the file format to something easier to analyze. And the third being data analysis, in which I would actually analyze the data and come up with an answer to my experimental question. So for data collection, you can see here some examples of what I ran with for my normal bio and my professional bio. I ran each of these bios for 1 week and then controlled every other variable so that the only thing that was changing was the bio. After the 2 weeks were up, I requested my data, which Tinder gave back to me in a format that I wasn't able to analyze, which brings me to the next stage. Which was data cleaning and transformation. In this stage, I wanted to use Python to clean up the data a little bit and to format it as a CSV file, which would make it easier to analyze. So on the left, you can see my attempt at doing this over winter break, where I actually had no idea how to use the JSON module. So it was really inefficient and took a lot more time to prepare the data beforehand. You can see it's a really long, lot of messy code. On the right, and then on the right, you can see the code that I actually ended up writing for this project using the JSON module. As you can see, it's much shorter and it takes no preparation beforehand. So it's really efficient and ended up working really well. So after getting that data in the proper format, I was able to bring it into R where I analyzed it and got my final answers. And as you can see, it turns out that option B, or the professional bio, actually ended up yielding me a higher 11.5% match rate as opposed to the normal bio, which only gave me an 8.9% match rate. So some key takeaways that I got from this project were that apparently being goal-oriented and career-focused on Tinder is a good thing, at least for me, as well as I learned about the JSON file format and its corresponding module for Python. I also came across this other module called itertools, which essentially just made some of the code that I wrote a little bit more concise and made it a little bit easier to write. Additionally, I got a good amount of practice in R and Python. I've taken classes for these languages in the past, but I don't really get that many opportunities to keep the skills fresh in my mind. So that was really good for me. And finally, I learned that what you plan on doing doesn't always work out, and that's okay. Initially, I'd wanted to learn the pandas module from Python and do everything through that. But after some technical issues and a bit of research, I decided on abandoning that in favor of just doing the analysis in R. So all in all, I was still able to find the answers to my questions. And I think it was a good lesson for me that nothing will ever go exactly as you plan it. But as long as you find a way to deal with the issues that come to your attention, you'll be okay. So as for my personal project, I focused on improving my step count. The first week of the pledge process, I had an average step count of 680 steps, which is absolutely abysmal. Nobody should be getting step counts that low. I really wanted to improve that, and so I decided to do that for my personal project. I actually ended up setting weekly goals for myself, which I was unfortunately not able to meet. You can see here in the graph that even though I wasn't able to meet my weekly goals, I still showed a clear upward trend of improvement throughout the process. Some key takeaways from this project for me were that good physical health is great, but good mental health changes everything. I went into this project with the intention of improving my physical health, but over time I realized that by going outside and forcing myself to take walks and improve my step count, I would actually come back a lot calmer, less stressed, and more motivated to work in general. If I hadn't been forcing myself to do this, the pledge process would have been a lot more difficult for me, and I don't know if I still would be pledging today. I also came to realize that when setting goals for yourself, you should be optimistic, but also realistic. For a regular college student who's not, pledging a online or not online pledging for a business fraternity like AK Psi, reaching these step goals would be no challenge at all, should be super easy. But I didn't take into account the amount of work that I would have to do, between school, pledging, and other obligations that I have. That really reflected in me not being able to hit my goals. So overall, I really genuinely enjoyed working on both of these projects, and the lessons I learned from them will really stick with me. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to contact me, and thank you for listening.